Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for our annual Back to School with ODE and ODOT webinar. This is a part of the Oregon Safe Routes to School webinar series. We have these monthly, and we reserve July for a kind of special bringing together of agencies to talk about transportation options for the fall for students and families. A little bit of the purpose of this particular webinar is to preview what transportation options will look like for students this fall, to learn about upcoming opportunities with ODE and ODOT, and to highlight an innovative transportation option, which today is going to be school pool, and you'll be hearing from Kim about that. For those who don't know these acronyms, ODOT, that's the Oregon Department of Transportation, and ODE is the Oregon Department of Education. Pretty sure we all know, but just want to get all on the same page. Here's our agenda for today. First, we'll do a quick little welcome activity. I have some polls. We like to do polls for this particular webinar. Then we'll do a Safe Routes to School quick resource overview and talk about what I do on the technical assistance team, as well as many of my colleagues who are also on this call. Then we'll move on to ODOT updates from Heidi Manlove and Zhao Posadas. Actually, I'm not sure if Zhao is speaking today, but I wanted to highlight her as she is our new construction manager for Safe Routes to School. Then we'll move on to ODE updates from Brock Dittus, who is the Student and Pupil Transportation Manager for the Oregon Department of Education. We'll end with Kim Curley, who's going to talk to us about School Pool, a great tool for car ride matching. And then finally, we'll end with some Q&A. And I always forget to say this too, but if you have any questions while the speakers are going through their presentations, please feel free to put those in the chat. Sometimes they're able to answer them as they're talking, or just being sure that we're able to get to those at the end too. All right, we're going to start with our first poll. We like to know, because we're bringing in a few different agencies for this particular webinar, where people are coming from, what position you're with, what agency you're with. So go ahead, and I'm going to launch this one here. I'll give people about 45 seconds to do this one. I believe there is an answer for multiple choice here. You can select more than one. So if you represent more than one agency, then go ahead and click that. Interesting. I'm seeing a lot of nonprofit based. That's not a common one that we have. All right, give people another 15 seconds here. Yes, Kim, I will make you co-host. Thank you for reminding me of that. Awesome. Great. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, and we'll see what we got. All right. Yeah, it looks like we have the majority of us are from the school district staff, or community-based organizations. And then it looks like too, we have some parent caregivers here too, which is great. Awesome. Thanks for participating in that. I always like to know. Awesome. Then we have one more poll here for you. This is a geography poll. We just want to see where people are coming from around the state. And if you're joining us from out of state, that's awesome too. Go ahead and put that in the chat. Give people about 30, 45 seconds here. All right, a lot of Portland metro area folks, you know, that's to be expected. Oh, and it does look like someone is saying they're from somewhere else not listed on here. So if you are that person, go ahead and put that in the chat. I would love to know where you're joining us from. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end here. See, this is, just really interesting information for us. Just, it looks like majority of us are coming from Portland metro area, Willamette Valley, a few from Southern Oregon. The Central and Eastern Oregon folks are not representing today. I manage that regional hub, so I may have to have a chat with them about it. But kidding. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for partaking in that. I just want to take a second to give a little bit of background about what the technical assistance provider team does with ODOT Safe Routes. We're a group of folks from Alta Planning and Design, the Street Trust, Cycle Oregon, Commute Options, and of course, ODOT. And basically, we get together and we try to plan resources, arrange resources that you can use in your Safe Routes programming. Since I came on in 2021, this program has grown quite a lot, and we've been getting a lot of requests for different resources and technical assistance type things. So we have everything from toolkits, like this new coordinator toolkit that my colleague created last year, which helps new coordinators, new practitioners really come into the role, hit the ground running. We have these awesome little incentives that you can buy for walk and roll to school days or for your educational events, cool reflective gear to help kids be safer. And then recently this year too, we've launched the Jumpstart program, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about just yet because I know that Heidi has a few slides on this. So we develop a lot of these resources and create them to help you continue growing your programs. If you're interested in a particular resource and you're not seeing that on our website, go ahead and give us an email at info@oregonsaferoutes.org. Again, I'll be sharing that information out and how you can contact us at the end of this presentation. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and pass it off to Heidi.
Thanks, Emily. Welcome, everyone. It's really exciting that we're already gearing up for the next school year. Although I'm kind of like, wow, we're already gearing up for the next school year. So it's really coming and going here. We have a lot of really exciting stuff that Emily was talking about. I'm just going to go over some of the highlights. You can find a lot of our information on OregonSafeRoutes.org, which is our main website. And the things I'll be telling you about, you can get more information there. And you can also email the contact information that Emily will be sending out after the webinar if you have more questions. So my name's Heidi. I work at ODOT. I am the Safe Routes to School program manager for the education side, which I'll go into in a few minutes. And then I have a partner who works on the construction side, and her name is Zal Posadas. She's not here today, but I'm giving updates for our program. So next slide. So the few things I'll be going over is some of the resources that we've been developing and that are available for you this coming school year. Also talk briefly about our Jumpstart program, and then talk about our next round of funding for grants. So one thing that we have been working on is our material items that can be given to students as incentives for doing walk and roll events. So we make resources for at least 4 walk and roll events throughout the year. And we have order forms that you can use to order little items that are goodies for the kiddos when they do walk and roll events. So we've been coming up with different ones. We're working on a sticker book right now that features Strider and Viv, who are our brand characters for the walk and roll program. They're comic characters that we're using in a bunch of different incentives for the kiddos. So they have like collector stickers coming out with like a sticker book. So every time they do a walk and roll event, they get a different sticker and they can add it to their sticker book. So that's just one added resource. Oh wait, if you'll go back real quick. So this is the newest comic book. So it's one of, this is the 3rd one coming out, and it goes along kind of a theme where Strider and Viv are heroes, and they each book has a different theme that goes along a longer story arc. And so within that theme is something around safety and safe routes to school. So it seems to be pretty popular, and we have those in English and Spanish. Next slide. And then this is also new, where we updated our activity book for bicycling to also include scooters this year. And so the theme of it is saving Strider. He's been kidnapped and locked up for the day. And so through the activity book, the student will go through a series of little activities that they learn about bicycle safety and scooter safety, and then they end up solving the puzzle at the end to save Strider. So they learn different things like hand signals and right of way, and just some of the safety things that they would learn in like a bicycle or scooter safety class. So this is a neat thing to give out at walk and roll events, but also too, if they are in like a scooter or bicycle safety class, this is kind of a neat book to be like a companion for students. Next slide. And we also have these in Spanish as well. Next slide. And then I wanted to talk about our Jumpstart program. So we've had somewhat of a Jumpstart program over the years. And before we would do a train the trainer program, we would be able to train one school and drop off bikes to that school for an entire year. And so the PE teachers or staff at that school would learn how to train the students, and then they would have bikes for the whole year to train students. And we found out that this was great, but there was a lot more schools that wanted to do these kinds of things. And maybe not for an entire year, but for shorter stints. And so we tried to figure out a way to make that happen so that we could reach more schools and more students. And we have figured out a way. So we've joined up with some of our partners on our technical assistance team. We have Clint with Cycle Oregon and Sean with Cycle Oregon. And then we also have our hub leads that do some of our walking training as well. So we have train the trainer programs for school staff, PE teachers or health teachers or any kind of like after school staff that want to teach bicycle and pedestrian safety. We come and train for free, and then we give you materials and resources to do it. We have these pedestrian safety kits. You'll see the picture here. We can loan the kit out to you. And so you can teach at different schools, and then we will can get the kit back from you and give it to a different school that's doing the train the trainer program. Next slide. And so this is our new bicycle fleet, our Jumpstart bicycle fleet, and it comes to you in a trailer with all the things that you need to do the bicycle training. Our staff will do the training and also help you to deliver this with your schools for free. Next slide. So this is Clint with Cycle Oregon, one of our new trailers with our new bike fleet. So this is a really exciting time for us to be able to offer this to any school that is interested in teaching students how to ride bikes. And then we also have our pedestrian safety kits for if you maybe aren't ready for bikes, but you want to do walking education instead. Next slide. And you can obviously do both, bicycle and pedestrian. Next topic I wanted to discuss was just our next funding opportunity for the education program. So if you aren't familiar with our education program, it's basically the Safe Routes to School programming that works with school districts and the community to encourage students to walk and roll and to do it safely. And it also helps break down the barriers of students who have a hard time getting to school. So it helps with chronic absenteeism, as well as Safe Routes to School coordinators can also help you figure out things like getting better pickup and drop off time flow, and help students feel safer going to and from school. So our funding provides funding for staff time to be able to do this, or you could hire a contractor to be able to work at your school and do these things. And then it ultimately creates a safer environment in and around the school. So our coordinators are hired in order to do these kinds of things, and they can work inside the school district, or you can partner with other people in the community like Parks and Rec or the Boys and Girls Club. They may be able to deliver this for you, and you can work in partnership with them if you're at a school district. So any of these resources or materials are available on our website if you have questions. Our next round of funding for the education program, we will be putting a call out in February of 2024 to start the grant in October of 2024. And this is for a 2-year grant to be able to fund these fun activities. The construction grants call out is not determined yet. We're still working with our Safe Routes to School Advisory Committee to determine the dates of the next round of funding for the construction side. Next slide. I think it's Brock's turn.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Brock, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Fabulous. Thank you. It is good to be on the call with everybody today. I noted that I'm wearing the same shirt today as I was wearing in that picture from 5-6 years ago. So I don't know what that says about my sense of fashion, but fortunately, I don't care much about that. I appreciate everyone being here and thinking about the collaborative ways that we can all work together. School busing is not necessarily an active form of transportation, although some kids do have to walk to their stops. But it's definitely a big piece of the puzzle in everyone getting to school safely, one way or another. And so I'm grateful for programs like Safe Routes to School that have collaborated with folks to get resources out. The benefits of busing, just to cover that, is that if someone is unable to walk, either because there's unsafe infrastructure, other dangers that wouldn't make it appropriate for those students to be walking to and from school, buses can close the gap for some folks. If people live in areas where there are significant hazards like large highways, railroad tracks, bridges, or waterways, there are a lot of things that get in the way of active transportation. And so it is nice when school buses can close the gap. What we do know is that school busing is still kind of in the hole when it comes to level of service that many areas can provide. Under the law, people are legally obligated to offer transportation to anyone who needs it in their district. But just because that's the requirement doesn't necessarily mean that all the pieces have come together in every place. So one of the things that is important to me is figuring out how we can collaborate and how we can make sure that there's adequate communication between various parts of a school operation to make sure that resources are used as well as they can be, that if staffing is limited, that we know who needs service the most and who does have the ability to walk and bike. If people are able to walk and bike from their homes, one of the things that is a particular benefit to is the fall startup. People may not always be interested in walking or biking year round, although if someone can, that's certainly sometimes one of the best situations for someone for whom that's a possibility. But oftentimes in fall, a school bus operation, whether it's district run or contracted to a private company, may still be trying to fill in some of those gaps for what needs there are in their district. So if there's enough communication, if routes can be built, I know that right now in the summertime, many districts are still building routes. The bigger the district, the more complex routing can get. But if people know who expects to ride the bus and who does not, that can kind of help paint the picture for people. So I think one of the biggest things that I see is that oftentimes there are different parts of operations that don't have enough communication to get good info. And so sometimes, let's say that a number of folks are planning to walk or bike instead of ride the school bus, the district might not find out about that until later. So if there are things we can do as district partners and district employees to help kind of close those gaps in knowledge, smarter, not harder, is really the way we always hope to see it go. So those are some of the things I think that are most important, and checking to make sure that if there are missing links in some of those communication chains, that folks who are working with walking and biking programs or active transportation are in contact with the transportation providers to be sure that we can help them build smart plans for how they get kids to school and from school. As you can see, I'm a big fan of bicycling. I took this picture when I worked at a district operation, and I always saw the transportation network that the school provided and the infrastructure that my city had for walking and biking as kind of big pieces of the same puzzle. And again, the cooperation and the knowledge sharing, I think, are the things that are the most important to me. So I am always available if anybody wants to reach out with questions related to school transportation. I don't always have all the answers to local scenarios, but I am happy to help put my head together. So grateful to be here and grateful to have the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Brock. Appreciate it. Next, we're going to go to Kim Curley, who is with Commute Options and is going to talk to us about School Pool.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Curley. I work with Emily at Commute Options. And I wanted to note that Central Oregon showed up down there at the bottom of the screen. We've got Whitney and Dory from Commute Options too. So you got your people wrangled, Emily. Nice job. My work at Commute Options is mainly with adults, and I help them get to and from work without driving a car by themselves all the time. And using the platform that we have in the state, there's also a school pool option. So I'm going to talk to you about the school pool option and then go to the live website and show you around a little bit. Does anybody have a Get There Oregon account? Just raise your hand or give me a thumbs up or yeah. Thanks, Shane. Awesome. So it is free to anybody who lives and or works in the state. Thanks, Clint. Awesome. So that obviously precludes our students who are in the K through 12 programs. But there's a special spot in Get There for school pool networks. They're closed to the regular traveling folks, and only parents and guardians of people at that school can access that network. So for safety concerns, and we all have to have our photo releases signed and all that stuff to make sure that our kiddos don't get seen when there shouldn't be. These school pool networks are private and invite only. So I'll show you on the next screen that the interested parties are shown up on the map, and then the families can connect with one another and make their own carpool arrangements. So on the next slide, we can see it's a big state. Yes, we have lots of different folks like myself who are in the different areas of the state, and you can see by the colors. We've got the Northwest TO up there in the yellow, and going then to Portland, Salem, Lane County, Corvallis. Then we've got the little light blue down in Region 3, which is run by the Rogue Valley Transportation District. Regions 4 and 5 are Commute Options territory, and then we have one little bitty Hood River County up there in the gorge that Kathy Fitzpatrick manages. So what we are, these names, and please note your contact person, we're your region network administrators. So we're able to kind of get there and make it happen for you. Just so you know, Alta Planning and Design runs the technical assistance program for Get There. So actually Sydney Kate, who is not on this call today, but you may meet her in the future, is the person you would contact to get a school pool set up. So the next slide is, no, I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to choose my Get There dashboard. Can everybody see that? Yes, awesome. So this is my personal dashboard. Some of you are already familiar with Get There. Again, you need to be 18 so you can register. Then you put in your favorite trip here. And really neat little handy item is that you can look at a map and see that A is my home and B is my work, and all the little bubbles over here are humans who live in my neighborhood who would take me to work. If I contacted them and said, hey, my Subaru is in the shop and I can't afford gas, so can you drive me to work? And they would say, yeah, absolutely, let's hang out. So you're able to send a private message through Get There to those individuals so you can check out your options. Now for school pool, I have several schools made, and I will show you, I think I'll show you Ponderosa, because they have 9 folks who are in the school pool. And unfortunately for you travel transportation planners, these humans don't live by each other. So carpooling may be challenging. And as we all know, we can get better matches when we have more data, right? So if we can get more families in these neighborhoods by the school to register and put their trips into the school pool, then we can get people feeling, getting stuff put together. So the administrator of the school pool, which is me, can get a list of folks like this. You can do direct communications with these families. You could run a little contest that says, hey, you can win a school coffee mug if you recruit someone to be in our school pool. So looking at this list again, I've got some work to do. And one of the things I'd like to call out here is we have a really great group at Redmond Proficiency Academy, and they live all over Central Oregon. So as you can see, there's a Redmond person here, there's a school in Redmond, we've got some people in Bend, I think there's a Powell Butte person here. So just recruiting more folks to get them into the tool would be really great. Oh, it looks like someone has a question. Someone have a question? Philip, or were you just stretching your hand? Oh, you're on mute.
No, I was just stretching my hand. Sorry.
Oh, okay, fine. No problem. So I can answer any of your questions here about school pool, and like Brock was saying, and also Heidi, transportation options to and from school are needed, and they can be varied. A person, if they do live close enough to walk and bike and there is no bus, but it's bad weather, maybe they want to carpool. So you can do a combo of these modes and have them work for your neighbors and for your community. The other cool thing about Get There is that once you're registered, you can go on our ride board and put like, I'm driving to Little League practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 if you need a ride, or if you want me to pick your kid up and bring them home. So there's a lot of ways to connect with people in your community who you don't know yet, just based on Get There. So that's how you can get there.
Well, thank you, Kim. That transitions us really nicely actually into the question and answer portion. So I wanted to open that up to the audience. If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself or raise your hand, whichever feels more comfortable for you. If no one immediately has a question.
I see Julie has a question.
Oh.
She's asking, does each school or district need an admin to run school pool? That's the question. The answer to that is no. Each school, each pool that you would set up, we would like to have a point of contact, but that person doesn't have to administer really anything. They can be the person who parents or PTO folks contact to find out more about it. So they should have an account and be in the pool and be able to show that map or to look at it. But they don't need really any special skills, because we RNAs get paid 40 hours a week to work with the tool. So it's really our thing. Did I answer your question, Julie? Yeah.
I actually don't know the answer to this, and I feel like I should. So with Get There, you get rewards, and you get rewards for choosing your different transportation options. Are there rewards available for school pool, or is that just
any network in Get There can run its own contest? You can run the May Walk and Roll Challenge through Get There with your parents and have them log those walking trips and be able to capture that information. we've talked for many years over at Commute Options about the lack of products available to like the high school students because they're not 18, but they're not kids, but they're driving and they've got transportation issues. So there is a place in our industry to help serve that population. I actually have one of those age people living in my house, and he drives by himself all the time. So it's like, oh, you used to ride your bike until you got a car. So he'll be back.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions for Brock, Heidi, or Kim from the audience? If not, I've got a bunch. I'm happy to monopolize this conversation. Julie. Go ahead, Julie. Julie, do you have a question, or? I don't think we can hear you.
She looks frozen.
I think she's frozen.
Oh, okay. I'll give her a second, and then I have a question for Brock. I know that some of our coordinators and practitioners for Safe Routes do this already, but they where they do look at that commute from the student's doorstep to their bus stop. Is that something you're seeing in ODE that is a need to have some pedestrian or bike safety around getting kids actually from their doorstep to the bus? And what resources do you think that Safe Routes coordinators could provide to make sure students are taking that little leg of their journey safely?
Yeah, for most general transportation routes, there is a bit of a walk. The big bus doesn't do door-to-door service, so people do have to walk to their local neighborhood stops. So yeah, it's an interesting idea. I think that there probably are some things that if there's a Safe Routes coordinator at the school, they could probably assist with some of those things. I think it depends on where the needs exist and what they are. You know, if there are places where it's safer to walk than others, I could see the Safe Routes coordinator being an important link to that. Whether there was like a sidewalk, for example, as opposed to a road that doesn't have a sidewalk, depending on where you are. But I haven't heard about that being done either. So I like the idea of the collaboration, though. I could see that being helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I think, getting that whole journey. And I know some coordinators too have even included that in challenges too. So that those walk and roll to school days, including that little walk to the bus stop as part of a way to participate in those. So yeah, lots of room for collaboration there.
Or I'll throw in there carpool to a park and walk. So an event day, if you live really far out of town, you can drive, maybe carpool with another couple of kids from your neighborhood to the gathering place of the walking school bus or the event and participate in that way.
Yeah, just connecting everything, getting all these connections there. Shane is saying in the chat that he used to do this for PPS quite a lot and would run walking school buses to bus stops or walking groups. So that's great. So this is already happening around the state. Oh, Julie is camping. It sounds like she'd love to communicate with you about getting a school pool started, or actually probably with Sydney at Alta. Awesome. Yes. Yeah, and Julie's saying too, another way that she tries to contribute with the bus transportation is helping students learn how to wait safely for the bus. And I also know too, Julie, you did a teaching students how to ride the bus. So not just waiting safely, but also how to get on and be sitting there safely. So another important tool, teaching students how to ride the school bus or transit, is also a great way to contribute to these things. It was a big hit. And Heidi, I have a question for you too, because no one's getting out safe here. I think just for the group, so for these education grants this coming year, is it going to be tiered in the same way that it was previously?
We actually have a meeting about that this Thursday with our Safe Routes to School Advisory Committee. I'm I would say we don't know for sure yet, but it's likely that there will be some sort of tiered. And so for people who may check this webinar out at a later date or have questions about that, the tiers are basically different funding structures within the overall funding pot. So we have tier 1, which are like beginner grants, tier 2, which are intermediate grants, and then tier 3 are more advanced or innovative grants. And so based on where you are with your Safe Routes to School programming, you will fall into one of those tiered categories, and then you only compete with folks who are similar to you within that tier. So we have a larger pot of funding that's split up into 3 different, basically, pathways. And this was, we're in our first round of funding with those tiers right currently. So it's likely that we'll continue the tiers in the next round just to see if this works in terms of like how we make the funding more equitable for folks, while also more equitable for folks that are new or may not have many resources, but also to keeping funding available for folks who do have resources and are just looking for little pieces of funding to innovate, expand, and keep them going. So it's not for sure yet, but I'm pretty sure that we'll have something in that form in the next round.
Okay, great. And then Julie's asking if it'll still be a 2-year period for that grant.
That I don't know either until we have our final approval through both the advisory committee and the Oregon Transportation Safety Committee, who is the committee, the governor's appointed committee over my program. So I can't confirm that, but it is likely that it'll be another 2-year. We'll know more in the next couple months as we go through these committees.
And I imagine, Heidi, that we will do this again. Last funding round, we did a big webinar the January before the proposals were opened up. So stay tuned for information on webinars.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some sort of webinar and some question and answer times or sessions or call-ins for folks who are wanting to kind of talk through their ideas of projects that they want to have funded. So if you aren't already signed up for the newsletter, I guess this is a good way to plug for our newsletter. You can sign up for it on the OregonSafeRoutes.org website. If you scroll down to the bottom, I think it says sign up for our newsletter. You just click on that and put your email in, and we send out anything that has to do with updates of funding with the newsletter, as well as a whole slew of other really cool updates for the program. So be on the lookout for that. Also too, if you know folks within your community or in other schools who may benefit from watching this webinar or getting this information, please share it. We do this every year to get folks, specifically at school districts, more interested in the program and more awareness about our program. So I think,
Yeah.
Is there any other questions?
If there are not, then I'll go ahead and go over some quick announcements and resources and probably give everyone back a few minutes of their time. So just some quick announcements, resources. Our next webinar is going to be on August 15th. That's again a Tuesday from 11 to noon, and we'll be talking about liability and first aid. Corey Johnson from the Safe Routes Partnership is going to be joining us and talking about liability and what that means for Safe Routes. She won't get into too much detail just because liability really changes per state, per community, per school district, but we'll just give some general overview of some things to keep in mind when running a Safe Routes program. And then we'll be joined by Jesse Wilson from LeGrand Parks and Rec, who's going to talk about first aid. And we're actually going to go through some kind of interactive scenarios to dealing with some common injuries that you might see, when running a walking school bus or doing bike safety training. So that will be a great one to attend. The registration for that will be coming out in the newsletter. So I'll be sure to send out the newsletter sign up too with this follow-up email. Another quick reminder too, Jumpstart fleets are available for summer events. These are free for you to rent. We have updated our Jumpstart form. So if you are interested in just renting the fleet, you've already had the training, you can go ahead and submit a request through that. Again, I'll send that form out in the follow-up email as well. I wanted to plug School Pool again here too. We have a page for it for people who are wanting to create their own school pools or use it. So that's on our website. Linking here too to the Oregon Department of Education Pupil Transportation Department. And I will also send out Brock's contact information if you'd like to get in contact with him about some collaboration for this coming school year. And then just generally Oregon Safe Routes resources available on our website. Another quick thing I wanted to plug as well too, and I'm not sure if she's on this call, but if she is, I might ask her to explain in detail. Oh, I don't think she is. Incentive ordering is about to open for fall walk and roll events. One thing to note is that the sticker book won't actually be ready right away. It's still a few weeks out for it to be ready to order through those incentives. So if you would like to order those sticker books as part of your incentive, we recommend you waiting a few weeks. We'll make an announcement when that is ready and ready to order. But if you are planning on ordering super early, hold off for a bit. The sticker books are coming, and that will be a great resource that you can order through the incentive form. I see a question here really quick.
I can answer about the deadline. So there is no specific deadline for incentive ordering. It's mostly about how you're getting them distributed. So if you're getting them shipped directly to a school, then we say, minimum of 1 week before that event. You're probably safer if you order like 2 weeks before the event. And then if you as a coordinator are planning to order in bulk and then distribute the incentives to your schools, just remember to build in that extra time to travel around to your schools. And incentive ordering, I imagine, will probably open here at the end of the month. So coming up soon.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm sorry I didn't see you.
Oh, no worries.
Awesome.
Yeah, I also just got a huge order of bright green backpacks with Strider on them just yesterday. So super excited to have those this fall as well as a new item.
Yes, Lindsay is our expert incentive finder and finds all of the great incentives. It's awesome. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading this. Great, thank you, Julie. That would be great if you could share that with me. I would appreciate that. Awesome. All right. I think that is the end of our programming. I realized I did not put the contacts in here, but I will send those out after in a follow-up email. Again, that if you would like to contact us directly, that is info@oregonsaferoutes.org. But I'll share that information in the follow-ups. All right. Thank you all so much for attending, and thank you again to our speakers, Heidi, Brock, and Kim. We really appreciate this time and the time you've taken to come and join us. Have a great day, everyone.